Hello, my darlings. This is Maria, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please subscribe down below to see more videos like this one. Today, we are going to be talking about protection, protecting your energy, personally, if you're leaving the house, protecting your home, and also if you are staying somewhere in a hotel or an Airbnb, how to make sure that you're all safe for the night and feeling good. This is something that has been requested, so excited to dive in today. Today we're just going to chit chat. I'm drinking my sparkling water. This is going to be super informal, so I figured I'd try something else. Also, I'm in Tulum. I'm in my hotel room, so this is not going to be like the all pro setup anyhow. So might as well just go with it. All right, protection. The first and greatest protection that you may have is high vibrations, actually. So the higher your frequency is, the fewer possibilities there are that something can touch you. So just saying. Now, of course, it's easier said than done because raising vibration could be a lifelong journey. But no matter what you do on your spiritual journey, the more you meditate, the more you engage in practices like yoga flow, the more you do parts work, over time your vibrations rise. And so over time, it may and it shall become easier for you to protect yourself. But not only that, there's just going to be like all of the negativity is just going to bounce off of your auric field. Now, we all have to start somewhere. And so if you're just getting started in your spiritual journey and you are becoming very mindful of your energy and you're worried about attacks, there's a lot of negativity in the world, this video is for you. Alrighty, so let's talk about protecting the house first, because why don't we? When I move into a new home, I always do an onboarding ritual, so to say. I always do a protective ritual, no matter what, because homes are places where a lot of energy gets accumulated. And the house that I live in, for instance, right now is 120 years old. And so it's seen things, right? And it's a beautiful house energetically, but I did a lot of cleansing and protections on that house. And now it feels like a complete sanctuary. So initially, the ritual that I do is I like to call it the creation of the wards. Essentially, I look at the perimeter of my house. So when I protect the house, I don't just protect the actual house, I protect the entire territory. So any place where I'm going to be moving around, any part of my personal area, whether that's the backyard, the front yard, where I'm parking my car, even the part of the river, because I live by the river, where I'm going to be hanging out and meditating, I would claim as my territory. And as such, anything that is within that territory, anything that is within that space is sacred and protected by me. And so the warding is actually, it's a very old practice. We used to do that in Atlantis. The priests used to do that in Atlantis, but essentially it is where first you identify how large your personal territory is. And you do that with large pillars of white light. So essentially the wards are large pillars of white light that are placed along the perimeter of your home. I usually start in the corner, and usually you would want to create almost like a square or a rectangular space for yourself, usually not a circle when you're doing the wards. Although, listen, the world's your oyster. If you feel strongly about a circle, do a circle. But I usually do a square or a rectangle. I usually start from the top left corner. And I place a massive pillar of light in that part of my property. And then essentially that pillar of light goes from the heavens into the very center of the earth. Then I do the other angle or the other corner of this rectangle or square that I'm building. And I'll put another pillar of white light. It feels like pitching up a tent a little bit energetically. So essentially, I put white pillars of light in all the four corners that, I would identify or signify as my own personal space. So that's step one. Then, essentially, what you want to see is you want to create walls of light in between each of the two pillars, right? So you're going to have four walls of light stretching from the heavens into the middle of the earth. And so essentially, you're going to have, if you're standing inside, it's going to feel like you're standing inside of a pillar of light, really, that is shaped like a square or a rectangle. But that's not all. So if you're looking to really completely seal everything off, then you need two domes, right? A dome is actually the form of the Divine Mother. It is a pyramidal form, actually. So if the pyramid is the shape of the Divine Father or masculine face of God or source, the dome is the feminine source. And the feminine type of pyramid, the feminine protective geometric shape. And the Divine Mother is actually really, really known for her protection. She usually likes to encapsulate her children under the veil or, under her wing, right? And so essentially, then I imagine that on top of these pillars of light that I have set up, there is a dome at the very top that is being created with white light. And this dome essentially seals everything off from the top. And then I imagine that the same thing happens from the bottom, right? So essentially, I build this structure of light all around my house, but that's not it. So I've sealed it from the top, right? So if, anything wants to come through air, they can't. Nobody and nothing can come through the bottom either. Now that you've sealed yourself, this is not yet good news, because if your house has some negativity inside, right, because you don't know what happened, God forbid there is some accident happen inside of the house or there are ghosts. This is not about, this is not an episode on ghosts though. Here's what you need to cleanse the inner, because essentially think of it like if you're being sealed inside of an energetic structure, but inside of that energetic structure, there are all of these other beings that are not benevolent, stuck with you. They cannot escape. And so essentially you're going to have to let them out. Sometimes I literally open the door and let everybody out, make them leave sometimes. But here's another thing. It's very important to cleanse the inner part of your sanctuary. And so I imagine that I'm standing right in the middle of the house. And I imagine that there is a sphere of light, or like a fireball of white light in between my hands. And I would charge it for some time. I would usually spend 2, 3, 4 minutes charging it with my own energy, as well as sometimes I use the energy of the sun. Sometimes I use the energy of source, whoever is like my guides, whoever is or wants to donate that energy. And then I would expand my hands like this. And as I expand my hands like this, my fireball, my sphere that I'm holding on to grows. And then essentially, once I feel like the sphere is sufficiently charged, I would close my eyes and I would imagine that there is an explosion that happens with that sphere. It explodes and it fills everything that is inside of my house, inside of my 2 domes and the pillars, inside of my wards. I imagine that everything is instantly transformed with white light, and whatever was darkness now is light. And so that essentially helps me very quickly clear up pretty much the entirety of the house. And then everything else that I do, such as smudging, using my Palo Santo, using my sage, that is just the finishing touches of what I do. This is just the baby little things that I do. It's kind of like the cherry on top, because the bulk of the work is me doing, this expansive warding and cleansing. Now, sometimes you would know, if you go, say you're touring the house and you walk into a room and it feels creepy. I don't know if you guys, depending on who you are, you may have these feelings often, or you may be never felt this way. I don't know what you're talking about, Maria. If you're entering into a room and it feels uneasy, that is probably because that room either has a portal in it with negative entities, or it had something else happen in there. I don't want to say murder, but something like that. You guys catch my drift. Anything is possible in houses that are 200 years old. So if you find yourself in the room, and say that room is in the house that you bought or you're renting, and you're okay, this room is giving me creeps, then you probably want to do your own layer of cleansing. So I do the same thing that I do with a sphere of light for rooms that are creepy. And I literally do it 10 times. I do the sphere of white light 10 times. If there are any mirrors in that room that came from old, owners, throw them away. You don't want to be holding on to any mirrors in any creepy rooms, because mirrors are portals. And if somebody practiced magic in that room, and, that mirror can be a doorway into all kinds of funny little worlds that you may not want to visit. I'm just saying. And then the other thing is you can use actually a pendulum to diagnose your place. So if your pendulum, let's say and that I specifically would do that for very creepy rooms or for very creepy places. If you feel like a particular corner has darkness in it, and by the way, sage can tell that to you as well, because if you're saging something or smudging something and the smoke comes out dark instead of light, that is a concentration of negative energy. Now, concentration of negative energy can be any variety of things. It can just, it doesn't have to just be demons, It can be anything. And so essentially you'd probably want to clean it out. And so your pendulum, if it's, if you're not entirely sure which corner, let's say, of the room is problematic, because it's usually the corner. So these things are, it's hardly ever in the very middle of the room, unless there's like a pentagram and like it clearly was a place of like black magic. Usually darkness aggregates in the corners. And so what you would want to do is your pendulum is going to rotate counterclockwise. If it rotates counterclockwise in the corner of the room, that means the energy is going down. If it's rotating clockwise, it means the energy is going up. So you always want as many up streams in your house and as few downstreams in your house as possible. And so you would want to do a sealing exercise, but you're not going to do the dome that I just described. Essentially, this type of sealing, I'm going to use the Seal of Solomon. You can use the Seal of Solomon, but you can also use, do you guys know the Star of David? So it's like the upward triangle and the downward triangle. If you don't know what the Star of David is, you can Google it, or, we'll see if we can show you guys an image. So imagine that there is a Star of David and it is encapsulated in a ring. It's almost like it's in a circle. This is the Seal of Solomon that we're going to use. Solomon was a Jewish king, and he was a very powerful mage, shall we say, and he dabbled in all kinds of magic, including black magic. And because of that, as part of his, the building of his temple, he actually allegedly used demonic labor. The reason I'm telling you all this is because the Seals of Solomon were some of the, essentially he had to develop protections so that he could, run the demons and not the other way around. And so the Seal of Solomon is kind of like esoteric symbol that really helps you seal away the darkness. And so I imagine it as a seal of white light. And essentially, if you find a corner in your house that is suboptimal, I would literally place that Seal of Solomon there. It almost like you're energetically, etherically, you're plugging it into the floor, straight into that corner. And again, the Seal of Solomon is made of white light. Imagine it being made of light. And it is a circle. And inside of it, there is like an upward triangle and a downward triangle. It looks like a Star of David inside. So that's kind of like what you want to do. And what that does is it actually prevents the energy from going up or down. So it's essentially just closes the portal. That's what the Seal of Solomon does. So that's what you would do for your house. If you're somewhere in an Airbnb, you're renting things out. If you have or you're in a hotel somewhere. First things first, if that place, because sometimes you're renting an Airbnb, it has multiple bedrooms maybe, and maybe not all bedrooms are going to be occupied. I always get a feel for where I want to sleep because I am very attuned to how much light each room contains. And I also get the creeps if something funny was going on. And it's kind of like part of like being an empath. You don't just feel the emotions, you also feel energies. And essentially, but by the way, everybody has that to some degree. So trust your judgment. If there is a choice for you between bedrooms, feel into the energy of the bedroom and be like, okay, well, does this one give me creeps or is this one kind of all right, right? So you probably want to select the lightest bedroom possible. And then once you've already selected the bedroom, and I specifically do that in bedrooms, I don't do the full setting of the wards for Airbnb homes because that is time consuming, you guys. I'm also I'm not in a place, my vibrations are really, really high. I'm not in a place where I'm worried too much about protecting myself, if I'm being honest. I feel a lot of things really just bounce off of my energy field, and I feel extremely protected. I know I have a slew of guides and angels and dragons protecting me at all times. So I'm not all that worried, but still, I would do some light stuff in Airbnb. And in the very least, I would smudge. I would definitely smudge. And then I would also do the little sphere exercise where I banish all the darkness. So I would definitely do that. And the reason I do that in the bedrooms is because the bedrooms is where you're the most vulnerable. The bedrooms is where you are essentially, if there is an entity out there, the moment you go under and you fall asleep, you're really in your most receptive state. And that is the time where it can latch onto you fairly easily. So, some light protections is always a good idea. And then the other thing is, if you just feel uncomfortable, invite your guides in. You all have access to probably hundreds of benevolent beings of light that want to help you out. So before going to bed, you can invite all of your angels. Your guardian angel is always with you, but he can bring his bodies, he or she. Like I said, I always bring my dragons. You can bring your totem animals, birds or plants. You can bring the elementals in and ask them to guard you. You can bring your twin flame and ask him or her to guard you, right? So, you can do things like that. And also, something really, really quickly, if you're just doing it for one room, you can imagine that your room is encapsulated in a pyramid of white light. And by the way, you can also set up any frequency in that pyramid, right? Because the pyramids are actually extremely magical objects. And they're not just protective, but they help you transmute and accumulate and transmit a particular frequency. And so if you're sleeping inside of the bedroom that is overlaid with a pyramid, you would essentially get whatever energy you were charging the pyramid with. And the way you would charge the pyramid with an energy is by putting an intention for whatever you want towards the base of the pyramid. You can charge the pyramid with happiness, serenity, rest, reset, recalibration, like whatever it is, like whatever is the outcome that you want of that sleep. You may always just infuse those energies by just making an intention into the base of the pyramid. And then that pyramid is going to transmit all of these things upward and essentially through your body as you're sleeping. So that would be, some of the things that I do for Airbnb stays. Another thing I wanted to tell you, especially and you kind of don't want to do that in your own houses, but definitely don't want to do that in borrowed houses. You don't want to sleep in front of a mirror. So if there is a mirror in your bedroom and like literally, how if the mirror is staring you straight in the face, you're probably better off covering it or just flipping it if it's a small mirror so that it's not facing you. Because again, mirrors are portals. And usually in homes that are transient homes, there are portals into all kinds of realities. And you also don't know how other people that stayed in the room interacted with the mirrors. It could be something very simple, like, it could have been a woman that was unhappy just looking at herself in the mirror, just thinking she's not pretty. And that already could impact your energy field. So you don't want to do any of that. And if the mirror really bothers you, for instance, and you cannot cover it up, there's just no way you can cover it up, I put a seal on it as well. And very often I would put like that seal of Solomon that I told you about, looks like the circle with a Star of David inside. I would place that over the mirror and that would close it and that would seal it. And then windows are also portals, or, windows and doors are the things in your house where things can get through they wanted to. Wells on the property as well. Those were some of the main ones. There are some creepy wells out there, not going to lie. And so essentially anything that you want to seal, like you can seal every single window and every single door with a seal of Solomon, as well as every single well on the property if there is a well. And you are like beyond protected. Now, I'm not telling you all of this with an intention or like, I don't want to scare you guys. I don't want to create a situation when you're like, well, I didn't want to be protecting myself. And now I feel like Maria told me this. And now I feel like I'm going to have to go and protect myself from everything in the kitchen sink. Don't do that. Like if you're not worried, then that, then you're fine. If you're worried about setting up protections and this, these are the things that you would want to do. But it's not like every time you check into a hotel, 45 minutes, you need to do like a cleansing ritual. That is not the case. Last thing that I will tell you is personal protection. When you're leaving the house, when you're worried potentially about, being in a room with a lot of people, or let's say you're using public transport, or you just feel like you want to protect your energy field. This is something that I used to do all the time when I was just starting out my spiritual journey, where I felt a little bit wobbly in my own skin. I'll let you know, I'll explain what I mean. So right now I'm fairly centered in who I am and what I am and my vibration. And it's not so easy to throw me off my game. But when I was just starting my spiritual journey, it was very, very different. It felt like anything could get inside of my bubble and take away my peace of mind and influence me, because protection is not just from people that intentionally want to hurt you. Sometimes it's just protection from influence, right? Being influenced by others. And one quick tip that I would want to give you is sphere in this particular instance is probably the best way the best geometric shape that you want to use to protect yourself. So do that in the morning. Just need this once a day. If this is something that worries you, you need 3 spheres of light, colored. And you would need to place them around your body, your physical body, around your auric field. Technically speaking, these spheres have a correlation to sacred flames, as well as the rays, sacred rays, which are kind of one and the same thing, if you think about it. And so you can pick any color. And if you've listened to my podcast on sacred flames, and I think I've done maybe 12 different podcasts on the different sacred flames, you can pick a favorite sacred flame and use that as a protective shield around you in the form of a sphere. Some of my favorites for protection are blue, gold, white, and violet. Those are my 3 absolute favorite flames to set up your protective shields. Why? Their natural resonance is just so good for repelling certain things that are suboptimal, or transmuting and transforming things that are suboptimal into things that are awesome. So blue, for instance, is the blue flame. For those of you that don't know, Archangel Michael is the holder of the blue flame. So it's the flame of strength and truth and integrity and authenticity. It is a flame of power in some instances, although power comes in many shapes and forms and sizes. And so by placing a blue sphere of light around you, you're kind of essentially protecting yourself and with the energies that are either of Archangel Michael or similar type vibrations. And so these are, the blue flame is all about kind of like the war general. Like it's all about, knowing how to survive in battle. And so listen, if the blue flame can protect you in battle, it can certainly protect you in like a city or like in society, just in day-to-day life. So that's why I like blue. It's very straightforward. It's no BS type of energy. It works very fast, super quick. Violet flame, of course, one of the most famous flames. I think the violet flame probably jump-started this whole craze around sacred flames in the first place. The violet flame is a transmutation flame. So while it's not going to repel anything, it is actually an absorbent flame, right? The violet flame is also the flame of the Ajna chakra, third eye. It's the flame, one of the flames of the Divine Mother. And so it's actually a very absorbent flame. But once it has absorbed the negativity, once it has encapsulated it within, it just flips its polarity, and then negativity becomes positivity. And that's why I love the violet flame for protection. Golden flame is the flame of resurrection. It is the flame of taking something from in its broken state and bringing it into a state of perfection. This is also a higher flame. And so surrounding yourself with a sphere of golden light, you're really bringing in the energies of the higher spheres and higher dimensions into your own third dimensional physical reality. And that's why the golden flame becomes pretty much impenetrable from any to any of the lower frequency energies that could be seeking to enter your auric field. So love the golden flame. The white flame is the flame of purity, connection, connectedness. It is also the flame of source. So it's pure white light. That is the 4th flame that I really love for personal protection, because it's literally one size fits all weapon against darkness. Yeah. So that's why I love it. It's like literally, you don't need to be a pro. You don't need to know what's going on. Literally, this flame is going to shield you from any flavor of vibrations that are suboptimal. So that's why I love it. Now, these are the 4. You don't need 4, you just need 3. So pick any 3 of these. And then you essentially want to start by placing the innermost layer. I like the blue to be the innermost layer. That just feels good to me. So it plays the blue sphere around me. Then I usually place, me personally, I place the golden sphere and then the white on top, and the white one becomes the outer sphere. And the last thing that I do again is like I cleanse away anything with I usually take a golden bowl, fire bowl of energy, and I keep growing it in my hands. And again, then I blow it up, and then it cleanses anything and everything inside of my personal auric field, so that energy is not stuck in there, so that can all be gone and I can move on to bigger and better things. And then, I can leave my house and I'm going to be okay and all right. You can also, you see this chit chat video is turning out to be quite long. There are also some amulets that are really, really, really good. And that just wanted to come through. I did not intend to talk to you guys about this, but there are some amazing protective crystals that could be phenomenal if you want protection in your house and also on your person when you leave the house. Black obsidian, actually not just black. This is the green obsidian that I'm wearing. It's a really, really powerful amulet that just literally, no negativity can come through if I'm wearing this guy. Onyx, any of the volcanic rocks, type of stones, they're really, really good protectors. So essentially, if you're looking for a crystal protector, I recommend that you go into a crystal store. And before you step into the store, you just set an intention to find for yourself a crystal that could be the one for you, like your amulet for protection. And your guides, the universe is just going to lead you to the right crystal, even if it's not black, even if it's whatever other color. There is a crystal out there for you. If this resonates, whoever is watching this, that could serve as your protective crystal. You can carry it in your pocket, and you can carry it in your bag, and that could also over time become charged with your own energy and start repelling any kind of negativity coming into your auric field. It is important that once you buy that crystal to fully connect with the crystal. And so essentially you would set it on your heart chakra. And it's like a heart to heart connection. You want to imagine that that crystal has a heart. And then you would draw a little figure 8 between your personal heart and the heart of the crystal. And that creates an infinite heart to heart connection. Figure 8 is infinity, right? So once you jumpstart that loop is going to keep going. And that's a really, really healthy thing. So that's that. I hope this video on protection was helpful. Let me know in the comments what are some of the things that you guys do to protect yourself. If you have any tips and tricks for the creepy houses that sometimes, or rooms that we sometimes have to sleep in, or if you've had any other powerful tips and tricks that you've heard from others that you want to share with this community. Alrighty, you guys, I'm sending you so much love, sending you a big virtual hug. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.